Welcome to the group.
Welcome to the group.
Welcome to the group.
Welcome to the group.
Disclaimer. The content of this video is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. While some hosts and guests featured in this video may be licensed therapists, the discussions reflect personal experiences and opinions and are not a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Viewers experiencing mental health issues or needing support should seek guidance from a qualified professional. Viewer discretion is advised, as the video may contain content related to sensitive topics such as mental health, self-doubt, and personal challenges. By watching this video, you agree that the creators and participants are not liable for any decisions or actions taken based on the content of this video. Always consult a professional for advice tailored to your specific situation. Welcome to the group.
Can you hear her?
Nope. All right, good shit. Yeah, we made it. All right, cool. We got it here, guys. Yay!
All right, we good.
I've been fucking up lately, man. I gotta start making these videos for my own fucking YouTube channel. Fucking
Nice. Free haircut.
that's one, asshole. Don't give me that. We said two. We said two.
So, talk to me why you haven't been doing yours.
I don't even want to talk anymore because now I feel like I'm gonna say something. You're gonna be like, "That's
You're
two."
not. Why are you not doing yours?
Because yes.
No, fucker. You can't
Now I'm in
avoid
defensive
talking.
mode. Now I'm in defensive mode. You
I don't
can
care if
only
you're
say yes
defensive
in a
mode.
counter offer.
No.
I love watching the episodes after we shoot them because then I get like a review again, like what the fuck we were talking about, and then I wish I would have been able to catch my facial expression when you started asking me this shit, because then I was really like, fuck.
We should have zoomed in at that moment.
That's why I gotta get cool, because it's cool. I enjoy the feature of the audio picks up and then switches on the person, but it also then it might not switch to that person at the correct moment. So I guess I feel like whenever I'm getting emotional or some shit, then that's when I gotta switch to both screens so they could catch all the expressions. Because otherwise it just switches from whatchamacallit, from speaker to the other. All right, cool. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to the group, guys. My name is Victorious. I'm 36 years old. I'm only telling you that because you can still be old and be successful. Yeah. And I am dealing with isolation, horniness. I am dealing with a bunch of single male issues in New York, and what I'm doing is I'm having conversations with my homie, so I can better keep myself accountable. And take it away, Louis. I mean, they can already see you, but go ahead, do your thing.
My name's Luis Rodriguez. I am not 36 years old. Don't know why he says his age, but he's committed to keep saying his age. I am older than him, and I love these conversations. I love the concept of people changing, and look forward to today's combo. Sir, how was your week?
Battling my demons.
You said a second ago that you're dealing with, or you're working with, isolation and horniness. Both of those things to most people aren't that big of a deal. So what did you mean, and how did it manifest this week? How did loneliness show up since our last conversation? How did horniness show up in a negative way since our last conversation?
I mean, I still got the loneliness because, all right, so me steering away from not going the route that I've been going with, I don't know, I feel like, yeah, whatever. I don't know if I should, I feel like if I should speak in code or whatever. All right, cool, fuck it, I'm just gonna go with it.
But speaking code.
No, my thing is like, is this gonna be one of those full-on episodes, or is this gonna be like
everyone is a full-on episode? We might have to edit it to keep discretion, but the conversations need to be free-flowing.
Okay, so hold on a second, let me fucking mute this phone and shit. So just battling my demons this week as far as not going the route and calling and buying some pussy.
Copy.
So by not doing that, it's also now put me in a scenario where I'm finding myself at home kind of like twiddling my fingers, not shit to do.
And what does that mean?
And it's causing me to kind of want to go and be like, oh, let me see what's available, and go hit something up and fill this fucking void that I have within inside of myself, which I'm now calling a void.
The void is just the desire.
Correct.
Copy. So a second ago, off air, you said you're not a believer in monogamy.
I feel like that the rules of monogamy are dumb to an extent. You're creating this perfect. All right, I guess for most people, monogamy means you and I, right? But then it turns into the scenario where we're humans. We observe. Different people have different sex drives. Some people, and then that's what I feel like is a leading cause of cheating, because if your sex drive is higher, you'll have a higher chance of going and being unfaithful to your partner, right? Unless like magically you guys fit each other's alignment, right? And you also have enough self-control so that you don't go do shit and you don't just like go thinking with your dick, right? Now again, I feel like monogamy just puts us in a scenario where like you got to be almost like robotic, or you got to be very, or there are no other choices then, like it almost becomes like a trial, like a fucking some kind of Christian scenario bullshit where it's like, oh no. But again, it's like, if you're an adult, I'm an adult, I'm going to look at things and I'm going to want things. You might not like it, but I'm entertaining it in my brain. But maybe we can reach to a point where we're both adults and we can both understand that we have wants and needs, and these things are going to occur. I mean, of course, the subject has been that women can control their emotions better, which is funny because women are set to be more emotional. And us as men, we're more charged and driven to procreate and think with our dicks. So the monogamy concept, I just feel like it's a fucking time bomb waiting to fucking blow up. You have to fall under a very you gotta guys, you gotta meet each other and in that right space for you to make that shit work.
So if you had a partner, you would tell her that you don't believe in monogamy and potentially lose that relationship?
I would tell them how I feel. I would tell them how my thoughts of monogamy, maybe they're not, maybe we should have our own hybrid. I've been told recently with I had kind of like a coaching scenario happen with me with the Hinge app. I matched up with this chick. She was like, "Yo, you shouldn't do this, blah blah," because I was really showing myself to be kind of like to be somewhat I guess broken or tainted or been affected by the dating pool, and I was being more realistic and open and raw and being set and saying, "Hey, hurt people. Uh, this dating app shit is just like the new Madam or whatever, or like, you know, I was going on that route." And then she was like, "Yo, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. If you're looking for a woman, etc., you should move on this way." So what I did was like I changed everything up. I put monogamy on there. I didn't even like show that I was fucking pan or any of that shit. Uh and then I even put like, "Hey, I'm the nicest, funniest teddy bear. Come over here, let me give you a hug." I changed up my perspective on being more lovable and being more approachable, which hasn't helped at all yet. Like it's not like I'm getting matches or anything like that, right? But it's I don't think monogamy. I think we need to speak more on this shit, and people don't speak on it.
Well, it's not an easy conversation to have because everybody intellectualizes it. So, like, if your life presented a female that would satisfied you, monogamy and the lack of wouldn't be a conversation. You're not a rich individual that's popular, that has a bunch of options, and it's very difficult because the caliber of women that are throwing themselves at you, you're not Offset and Cardi B. You know what I mean? Like, you're not one of those people. Regular human beings don't have an issue with monogamy. It makes them better. So your weird quirks, your sexual quirks and desires become something that it forces you to communicate, not forces you to find alternatives.
Okay.
So it's different for everybody, but the concept sounds good to say, I don't believe in monogamy. But everybody believes in monogamy when you're in a relationship. Because if your shorty cheated on you, you'd feel a certain kind of way.
But then that's where it stems from. The monogamy aspect of the cheating rule, right? Stems from the monogamy.
Say that again? Differently.
So if the monogamy is the foundation, right? And the monogamy means that if you go and you fuck around with somebody, right? My thing is like, don't go out there trying to fucking get your dick wet all the time. But let's say you happen to meet somebody, etc. But now it also depends on what stage of your relationship you're in. Are you in the honeymoon stage? Are you in the stage where you guys are infatuated with each other? I'm referring more of a long-term game when you guys been together for a while already.
Yeah.
And now things start becoming a little mundane, and now your eye is wondering, you know? But then what if I go and I speak to you on like, yo, I have these emotions and then whatever, and as two adults, you understand that you have needs and wants, right? And let's say wifey's not feeling it right now, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, does that then also hold you down from trying to achieve some happiness that you not necessarily that you might not be getting it? My whole thing is like, if you are transparent with your partner and you speak at an adult level and not allow be like that whole you're mine, my precious, only mine. Like if you fucking got rid of that shit, I think things would be better. But then I guess people might not be ready for that that openness, that vulnerability.
I don't think it's vulnerable though. I think it's selfish and childish.
What?
I don't find it to be vulnerable or mature at all.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm saying it as an adult. So when you kept saying the adult, as an adult now, there's more good than bad in any relationship, right? There's more good than bad, which is what makes a good relationship.
And I'm not talking about it where I'm trying to make it so it could be like, oh, I'm a guy and all I want to do is
No,
have
me neither, me neither.
multiple women and blah blah. Like,
No.
I'm not saying
At
that.
me neither. But I'm saying at this age, where I feel the most mature I've ever been, I don't have that same desire. Me. And most of the couples I work with are similar. I think the monogamy relationship comes into play when you're at a certain status in your life. But regular individuals, it makes you a better person to be able to keep monogamy alive. The responsibility it takes to keep a healthy relationship in monogamy when you're with your wife is what supports your growth. Let's say you cheat and you communicate that you cheated and she forgives you. The person you've become because of all that pain that was produced from the story of cheating makes you guys better. Let's say you don't cheat, but you fight a lot. If she still loves you, she listens to the fight. And both of y'all listen to each other. And even if it comes out wrong because you're angry and emotional and childish, you still listen to each other and rise to the occasion for the love of that individual. Sex is only one component. If I was like Jay-Z cheating on Beyonce, he'll have the argument that nobody can be faithful because it's not designed that way. Both of them are on a certain level. She has the same options he does. She chooses to say no. He chooses to say yes. In the world of both of them having the same options, who's being more mature? The one who said no and is willing to deal with it, or the one who said yes and was hiding it? You know what I'm saying?
Wait. That last part. Who was more mature? The person
who hit it? The person who, like Beyonce, let's say Beyonce was the faithful one. Who's more mature? The person that's miserable saying no to the options, or the person that's happy and keeping it a secret to the options? Because if the world knew he cheated, she'd leave. And if the world knew
I don't feel like also that has to be propelled and put out there to the open. This is something that.
Think about it. There's no privacy when you're at that level. That's the whole point of having options.
Yeah, but I'm not referring to being a celebrity and then having like the paparazzi on your ass and shit. I'm talking about a regular individual. Like
what regular individual you know with those types of options? That doesn't exist.
Of what? Being able to speak to the person who you're with and being
No,
open about.
the conversation of monogamy in a regular world where two individuals are regular, not extra. The conversation of monogamy changes when you're a celebrity. So, like again, the example of Beyonce and Jay-Z versus me and my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my wife are not at the Jay-Z and Beyonce level. So, if she chose to cheat, she probably handled it the same way Beyonce did because she wouldn't do it, doesn't want anybody in her business, so she wouldn't say anything. But if she cheated, her friends and family would know she cheated. Her friends and family that don't like happiness in relationships would throw shade to catch her, getting to make sure she got caught cheating with her man. Celebrities are no different. So if she got caught cheating,
but then that also requires a specific scenario of people being in your business to that level.
most people are in each other's business regardless. You trust them for a little while, you tell them to. It's kind of like when you're in a relationship and you're mad at your girl and you tell your homies what happened. They don't forgive her, even though you chose to forgive her. So either you lose your friends or you lose your girl. It's the same concept when it comes to cheating. Your girl makes the mistake, tells her homegirl, and my man cheated, and it makes it very difficult to forgive him.
All right, so going back to what you had said before, I feel like being open about and being transparent about how you feel, but that's just me because I'm a fucking maniac and I decide to tell people how I
That's not
feel
just you.
about how I genuinely feel, as opposed to like creating this whole different scenario. But so is it more mature to hide it and not speak about it? Because
Great question. It's the maturity comes from having integrity.
I would think that the maturity will come from being able to speak on something that can seem so emotional and
Yeah.
and actually being able to have a conversation, being able to understand each other and say, okay, cool, this is where we're at, bang, bang. But I'm sorry to cut you off. Continue.
No. That's great. I agree with you. Let's say you
Are they
talk
both
about
then more are both harder then?
both of them are hard. One is easy or hard, one is hard. So the one that takes you to talk requires a difficulty that is unparalleled. You can't, there's nothing else harder than saying what you want before it happens.
Okay.
So if you have the maturity to be able to say what you want before it happens, you got to deal with the consequences of what your want did to the other person. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you don't act on it, but you just communicated it. You have to deal with the listening of how that person took it, ran with it, thinking you're telling them something more than what was said. The 10 different things that can go wrong will go wrong when you're just discussing it.
Okay.
Right? And everything will go wrong when you're just after the fact telling what happened. I think the integrity to the relationship has you find a responsible version of the conversation, not being to your partner, or you figure out a way to grow up and mature yourself to understand the integrity of your life at the moment. You can go to your therapist and say, oh my God, I have all these desires. I don't know what to do. That's the person to talk to when it comes to stuff like that, unless you're about to do it. ¿Qué tú haces?
I'm making the other one because we're about to run out this thing.
Oh.
So I just made it. It's going to start in a minute, but after this one is done, or you want to just go on that one real quick and then
Sure. Okay.
I'll send you the email. All right, so I'm going to finish this one then.
All right.
Where the fuck did we get off at?
The maturity of being in a monogamous relationship comes with the desires of a man and those impulses to desire to want to look at other people and blah, blah, blah. You gave the options of talking about it or doing it. Those are only two options.
Okay.
I'm saying there's more options of dealing with the immature scientific desire that come up and then finding a mature way to process it for the sake of monogamy, for the sake of marriage. Because what it does for a human being is make you a better person to decide to do something that comes unnatural. It's kind of like a diet. It's unnatural to not eat what comes up naturally to eat. But when you change your behavior, when you change those impulses, it changes the results come up. You have a better relationship when you're willing to deal with the good, bad, and ugly of those desires. If you think that having desires is ugly, then there's something to work on with your therapist. If you think that having a wandering eye is the issue, it's not. The issue is what you want to do with the wandering eye.
Okay.
So I agree with you that it's a challenge, but I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's negative, and I think it's healthy for a relationship and a family to deal with the uncomfort of monogamy.
Okay.
You,
I stand by what I said.
I'm not just. I don't want you to change it. I'm just curious to know. I
No,
want
no,
to
no.
see it.
Again, I see, maybe because I've seen so many scenarios of it blowing up and people not being able to learn how to move accordingly, and just seeing it blow up in people's face. People talking about, I want to be with one person always, but then it's like, then I get the argument of where women tend to get bored quicker. So in a way, you're driving yourself towards a fucking cliff by saying, hey, I want to be with you forever, but there's a high possibility that in a couple of months I'm gonna get fucking tired of your ass, and then I'm gonna start looking at you differently. And I'm not bashing anybody. I'm not trying to say that women or whatever. I'm only going off of like things that I've heard and they've done studies on, etc. Right? So again, we're creating this scenario like where we found happiness, yay! But then we're ultimately gonna like, all right, cool. We're about to go on this road trip, right? So are you ready to get on this road trip? But then it's like, yo, I'm gonna get bored halfway through the shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, there's gonna be a bunch of hurdles that are gonna come in later down the line, and then how do you
But how do you know about the hurdles are going to come up guaranteed?
life
But how do you know it? That's other people's version.
life again by seeing other people's actions,
That's
just
other people.
just see. Okay, I'm sorry.
Were
I
you ever in a
I am
relationship and
making an
wanted more?
educated guess that is the, because if I continue going on the same formula everybody else is doing, what makes me think that I'm going to get a different result at the end?
Ooh, everybody doesn't have integrity.
Hold on a second. Let me get my cat out the room because he's fucking looking at me like a hawk over here. Go over there. Leave me alone for now. No, fool, go over there. Dick. Hold on a second. Ah! Ash, I'll see you in a few. All right, cool. Continue. Sorry.
I think the reality of other people can sometimes create an illusion that we think is fact and we live into. Does that make sense?
Uh,
So you being single, wanting to be in a relationship, now overcomplicating it, adding more stress to the concept of relationship because of what other people have been through is setting you up for failure.
yeah, I can see that.
So if you're dumb as fuck and didn't have anybody else's perspective, you might be in a happy relationship. And then when the wandering eye comes up, you might trip and fall on the honest conversation that prevents it from being what everybody else said was the problem. Because in my experience, people are in relationships for like, it's kind of like your girl is supposed to be a stool, right? With 3 or 4 legs. Sometimes people focus on one leg, like she's domesticated, or she's great in bed, or she could dress and other people want her. One leg being longer than the rest has a wobbly stool. Sometimes wifey has a short stool, but everything's even and it has a lot to offer, and there's more good than bad. So the sexual aspect to it all, once your needs are satisfied, I don't think that's a valid fact for every adult. I think that just in today's culture of OnlyFans and media, social media, and instant gratification, I think the conversation of monogamy is a little bit more challenging today because of how bad our values got. Coming from somebody who never wanted to get married, only got married in my 40s, I'm telling you that marriage wasn't an issue. Monogamy wasn't a topic. It just kind of happened by being in a relationship. It took me a long time to let go of habits because of my friends and what pop culture said and blah, blah, blah. It took me a really long time to grow up from what other people's immaturity taught me. But I think it's just a natural evolution of a man to like go through all that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you being a single person unhappy because of isolation, I don't think you mean that. I just think it's the right answer. Because if you had wifey that you were happy with, I think your niceness, your gentleness, your vulnerability would come up with the. You would almost feel the pain that that wandering eye was going to create, and you'll be vulnerable to saying, "I don't want to do this. I have a desire. I would like us to work on it." I think your vulnerability is that connected to a person, not in spite of a person.
I don't get that last part.
I think your vulnerability would trip in a direction of getting closer, not pushing away. I think your vulnerability would have you would almost feel the guilt because of the love you have for the person, and that would motivate your conversation. Not do it and then feel guilty that you want more of it. That's not how it works in real world.
I would definitely speak on it if I feel very, if I respect you if I respect you and I'm fucking with you, I'm gonna speak my mind.
Of course.
I'm here also too due to past actions. I am a single guy. I'm not I don't come from a scenario where I got a baby moms or I've constantly had someone there for me. So that's almost speaking on a level of a different universe,
Word.
right? Alternative world. And but I can see where that I would definitely be, but again, I can only really I can agree with that because of who I am today.
Correct.
I don't know who I would be if I was in a scenario where I wasn't single. I constantly had a girl, and yeah, would I be more of a piece of shit? And by
No.
that I mean like just be more like, yeah, I'll cheat and fuck that shit, like, or just have a different perspective on women altogether.
You might, but if you took this loneliness, this time of singleness and isolation as a learning tool, I don't think you will
I don't think I would. What?
be a piece of shit. I think you're a piece of shit because of the self-loathing that comes
No,
up with
but I mean, being
isolation.
a piece of shit is like if I was with someone, but still keep moving around and being like, oh, I'm gonna fucking stick my dick here. I'm gonna stick my dick
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. No, I got that. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. I don't think that's who you are anymore, or period, or were ever. I don't know. I didn't know you before. But I don't, based on the pain that you're in as a single man wanting them all, I don't think you'll take it for granted getting your genuine love. It sounds good in comparison to everybody around you that has it easier, has it different, which is perceived better. Everybody has their own reality. But for you, I don't think you play that game that same way. I think it sounds good to say to sound like a regular dude.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I did have. All right, if I'm being completely honest. All right. I did have my homie come by a couple of months ago, and I am a piece of shit for after she was. I don't even want to song. All right. After. All right. Whatever. After they came in and whatever, I had blamed it. I'm such a fucking scumbag. After I smashed it on this and it was cool, I started looking at her and being like, "You regular." But mind you, she still holds this place in my mind where like she's the top of the top, and like this is where I want it, this is what I want. But then once I got it and whatever, and then my fucking little reptilian brain was like, yeah, this is regular. Like it almost got so used to it that it was just like, whatever. But mind you, a week before, I'm like, it's gonna be.
Well, we're saying the same thing. Your maturity had you get what you wanted and then be like, that's not what I wanted. That voice inside your head is like, oh my God, but the truth is, whatever, not a big deal. So we can get your confidence up, the whatever would be there before you got to do all that, and then you'll be able to treat yourself like your dick is dipped in platinum and approaching it that way.
Okay.
So again, it's all coming from integrity. And you said something that I wanted to correct. That's not your reptilian brain.
That's just a term that I use for whatever.
Do you know what a reptilian brain is?
Uh, you find in iguanas?
No, and the reptilian brain is the shit that keeps you alive, the quick shit.
Okay, okay.
The impulse like that is just your unconditioned mind. It's just your autopilot.
Yeah, that was. It
A
sounded.
reptilian brain is the shit that keeps you alive. That shit that makes you run at the side of danger. When your mother's about to smack you and you dodge it, that's the reptilian brain.
So your spider sense.
Yeah, whatever. You can make up shit, but yeah,
Spider sense,
your
like,
intuition.
okay, so your intuition is your reptilian brain.
No, fucker. Your reptilian brain is the emotional brain that keeps you like alive. When you're walking in the jungle and you step on a piece of twig that makes a loud noise, your reptilian brain is going to stop the tiger or lion from eating your ass. Does that make
Not
sense?
stop it, but cause you to move at a faster rate so that you can.
With the goal of stopping it.
Okay.
You might not be able to stop it, but the reptilian brain is like, yeah, nigga.
Yeah, but you're running away. You're not stopping it. You're stopping it from eating you, but you're not physically stopping it. Like, I'm going to stop you in your tracks.
Sometimes with people who are trained with bears, they freeze, thinking that bears avoid things that are frozen.
Yeah,
so you might
play dead.
Right, but you might have the mental wherewithal to like play dead or something.
Until
I don't
the
know. I can't do that.
600-pound bear starts fucking moving you around and shit, talking about.
Right, but again, that's the reptilian brain. Your reptilian brain is not the autopilot that when unchecked does things you don't want it to do.
Okay.
That's just that voice inside your head that you think is you fucking up your decision making.
Thank you for correcting me. I wasn't.
No, that's important. I didn't want you to use it as a weapon against you.
Oh, no. I'm not saying. I'm just. It was just kind of like in my memory library, and just throw it in
the
there.
way I was correcting the way you used it, not just for the sake of correction, because in the time that you smash Shorty, huh?
I don't know. Continue.
The time that you smashed Shorty and your intellect made it a big deal, and then once you smashed it was like it's not a big deal. That is the intuition after the fact. Like, I wonder why I thought it was a big deal. And that's where the lack of integrity comes up, which is why we have the weird exercise of whenever you lose integrity to deal with it and to provide consequences that are healthier than just, damn, I thought this was special and it's not. Because that's a bigger disappointment than a free haircut.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a mental thing. It's not just
It's a spiritual, mental, it's everything thing. It takes a learning that's not there yet. So even bitching, let's say you told her, I want to wander. I want to be with somebody else. And it causes you misery in your relationship. Just because you talked about it doesn't mean you had integrity.
Then how? I guess my brain is so programmed to thinking that when I speak on things and I express my actions, I'm holding myself accountable, and it's integrity in my brain.
Right, which is why the world needs to learn what integrity is, because we don't learn it. When you have money and you grow up in private schools, they teach you integrity. When you grow up poor and you go to public school, they teach you the different definitions of integrity, which is almost impossible to reach. Doing something when no one's looking, blah, blah, all the dumb shit that doesn't inspire anybody. Integrity is just whatever you said yes to, being a yes, period. That means bitching about it. That means complaining about it. That means causing harm because of it. All of those things have no integrity. So you're right. Talking about it to your friend that does not hurt by your pain, by your desires, is a safe way to get it off your system. But that's what paid professionals are for. So there's no consequence. That's why we have laws that prevent that conversation from leaving this office. Because you can say whatever the fuck you want, hold yourself accountable to yourself. Hear yourself and then change accordingly. When you're talking to somebody else, you can't hear yourself. You're just watching the way they heard you.
Okay.
So you got to be careful with that, because the lack of integrity is what causes misery and unhappiness, not the issue to begin with. Anything you can overcome.
I think we got to talk more and about that, what the meaning of integrity is, so that
Correct.
It can be better understood and not misunderstood.
You're right. You asked me for the performance triangle, right?
Yeah, you got to send me that.
I'm not gonna, unless you're gonna look at it. I'm okay.
I
I
have to look
fucks
at
with
it
you.
if I'm making it
No, no,
and
no. What I'm
using it
saying
on
is
the group.
I'm gonna give it to you because you're the one that's gonna use it, but I'm not sharing it with everybody. That's my intellectual property. That's my device that I'm not gonna give away. They pay me for it to learn it. I'm not gonna give it to you just to have and you misuse it.
Okay.
It's a technology. It's the equivalent to giving you a device. It's just verbal, so you don't see it that way.
So would you not then? Because then we could put that on the Patreon, and then people could pay for that, and then you're making a residual income from that.
Which is perfectly fine, but they can't have access to it unless they invested in it, and they can't keep access to it unless they're coming back to discuss it. What winds up happening with things
You would
like
have to
that
get
is
like
that,
market or some shit.
yeah, what happens with shit like that is that instead of you applying it to your life, you'll start to teach it to other people and then use it as a weapon.
Okay.
So you got to be mindful that all of the things that come up from different clinical type of conversations, they're the equivalent to like handing you a device. And if you're playing the music too loud, it might bother other people. If you're not playing it loud enough, they might miss listening to it and decide to not give a fuck about it. You have to be mindful of it as if it's an external device.
Okay.
So for you to know that, I don't mind sharing it with you, but I much prefer you letting it sink into your soul by asking a million questions and like seeing it in your mind's eye. It'll have way more of an impact on you than you having it in front of you. It's kind of like why I don't let people take notes when I'm teaching. If you paid me to go over a transformational type of lesson or a psychological, if I'm doing psychosocial type of shit where I have to teach you what I'm talking about, you can't take notes because whatever you didn't absorb went over your head on purpose. It was supposed to be like that because whatever you stuck to, it was exactly what you needed.
Okay.
So it's important to treat everything with the same integrity because then psychological type of services that are supportive go out the window because you just use them as weapons.
Okay.
So the performance triangle, the foundation for the performance triangle is integrity. And it's just an answer to the questions, what am I saying I'm going to do? What do I have to do in order to do it the way it's designed to be done? What do I have to do in order to do it better than expected? Those answers are what make the integrity. So every time you say yes to something, if you bitch about it, if you don't do it, if you delay it without addressing it, all of those things prevent you from having integrity. And then you might call it intellectually failure. You might call it whatever you might call it. But all of those things are to avoid the fact that it's just a lack of integrity.
Okay.
So like if you lend me money and I don't pay you back the day I said I'm going to pay you money, you might ask me over and over again for the money. I won't. If you don't have integrity for Friday, let's say, I'm never asking for it, but you'll never get another dollar from me. Most people would feel a way that you didn't pay it back. And then because you didn't have integrity, decide not to have integrity in return and fight you, argue with you. I'm not going to break integrity because you chose to break integrity.
I got that.
That's important for you to understand because if you're telling someone like your partner, I'm interested in cheating on you or I have a wandering eye and I want to get some pussy, that doesn't have any integrity because the way it lands might be I'm not enough, you don't love me. So you have to be responsible to the integrity of the way it's landed, the way they heard you, in addition to what you're saying.
Okay.
You're only as strong as the way the other person heard you.
Perceives you.
Heard you. So you can't get mad if they didn't hear you right. You can only take responsibility for the fact that you didn't say it right.
Okay.
That's important to understand because every time you got someone that told you no, you didn't ask it right.
Gotta let that sink in. Once I watch this again, I feel like I'll be able to better understand what the fuck we're just talking about.
Or you can right now be in the moment and see if any questions come up so you can better understand it in the moment.
Not
Or
really. Not really.
Hopefully that's the goal. Hopefully
I'm allowing the information to seep into my brain so that I can then fucking, process it and then I can then see the outcome.
Then I request that you listen to it again and ask at least 2 questions to help you better understand
Sure.
what you think you understood, but you want to make sure.
I still solidifying the specifics of how integrity works. I know you said a lot about it a second ago. but then I guess it turns more into like using it in real world actions. I mean,
Yeah,
real world scenarios, so that I can then better understand of where it comes from. Because I can tell you, like, hey, look, I have this cool device that does a bunch of stuff, and it sounds awesome and everything. But until I get the device in my hand and know the actual life working, like, you know, the life scenarios that I'm gonna like have it with, and then almost have it become second nature, I would need to fiddle with the device and understand the actual purpose.
that's how you work. So
Yeah,
I have to have integrity to that. I don't have to agree with you
very
because
true.
most people, the way they work, once they hear, it's the definition of an epiphany. Once you hear it, it resonates and it changes everything. It's like this. It doesn't require a process. Just so you know.
I'm assuming it depends on the topic and the subject and whether it resonated with me at the time or later at a later date.
Or if your style likes to be correct, so you're not quite sure how to feel until you understand it from a perspective of right or wrong. Make the face. I don't give a fuck. The point is, it's important for you, my friend, to understand that the cause of your misery and unhappiness, it all stems from the lack of integrity. Not because of you're not deserving, not because all the things you're saying are right, not because any of the things you're saying are wrong. But if I can support you, put back integrity where there isn't any, it would free you up from the constraints of the past that have you and stop you from repeating the same miserable cycle over and over again.
Okay.
So I'm going over every example of the integrity so you can understand it in a way that frees you from it. So there's nothing to re-listen to later because later on your mind frame might be different where you'll hear it different. And right now we had a whole bunch of stuff that came up beforehand with monogamy and all this stuff. So the way we're talking about integrity resonates with this topic at the moment. Later on, you might be different. So if you have questions that come up or you think you understood something different than you didn't before, let's talk about it next time. So we can have like a conversation, not just a Zoom version of those conversations. As my friend, when it comes up, make sure it comes up, not just to you privately.
No, I get that.
Cool. How was the rest of your week, sir? Besides you dealing with this conversation of monogamy and the stupidity of being monogamous.
Regular shit.
No
You know what?
unhappiness,
You
you
know
was
what?
good?
I was talking to my homie, which I mentioned, the same dude that I was talking to earlier. I don't. Well, whatever. I was talking to him, and it came up the fact that as men, we don't ever actually talk about sex. We don't. We know sex, but we don't ever speak on our relationship when it comes to sex. Some
What do you
people
mean?
might look at it from a place where it's is charged up by just certain emotions and like, yo, this is what I'm trying to say is that we don't all share the same perspective on how sex should be done, how it should be gained. Uh I feel like we all share one perspective on where, like, if you're super sexually charged up, you always want it. But again, it's like, how do you approach it? Like, I was talking to my homie the other day, and he was like, I don't like the post nut like feeling. So he holds himself back from being like with women, so that he doesn't have that whole like, oh, I just nut to get the fuck away from me scenario. I've and I know a lot of other people that don't look at it like that. They go get it, and even if they get that post nut feeling, it's whatever. It's like, I'll deal with it afterwards and shit. It doesn't stop you from actually going and act and doing the action. It doesn't like it's not enough of a, again, it's just we don't speak on it. Like, we don't. I mean, I don't have conversations with niggas about like, yo, so how do you look at sex? Do you have a healthy relationship with sex, or are you just like being a fucking degenerate and just fucking
That's
everything
funny.
that walks?
I have those conversations all the time.
Well, you're a fucking therapist. Well,
I
I would
know,
assume that you
I
speak on
take,
shit
I
like
just,
that.
that's my point. I just took it for granted how my conversations that are normal to me aren't normal to everybody else.
I've even all right, like what I've been recently asking is, when if I'm gonna like if I feel like I'm gonna have a sexual relationship with you is, hey, are you comfortable with us having raw sex, or would you rather have me wear a condom?
See, I would never ask that question.
But but then I feel like a lot of people are gonna just go into the assumption of like, nah, we fucking. I mean, dudes anyway. Oh, I'm smashing with a Jimmy, unless you've had past experience where like you're fearful of STDs and you definitely don't want to catch a child and shit.
Don't get me wrong. I've had the conversation, but it didn't sound like that. It was more like, "What you doing Tuesday? I'm gonna go get checked. Want to come?
Oh, very
For
casual,
what?
super,
Yeah,
super
light.
nonchalant. Like,
Because I'm trying to tear it up. So that's the intensity, not yo. I need to use a condom.
but then how do you say that in short words? Who the fuck is calling me? But then how do you say that in a level where, because I could say that, but it's not. I don't feel like it's gonna, like, you could say that, but I don't feel like it's gonna resonate and be like, oh, I'm trying to tear it up, or whatever, and like add in
That's
that
my
extra
that's
content.
been my reality because I never wanted children, so I never played like that. So and in my life, when I didn't have a condom, let's say, she gonna figure out a way to try to get me to not listen to myself, and then that will become more competitive. Like, bitch, you don't know me. Does that make sense? Plus, my dad died of AIDS, so it's always been an extra discipline for me because of the past.
Yeah, I get that.
So,
Again,
and
it comes down to your past
right, right,
experiences,
right. But it's still
views.
a healthy relationship and it's still a normal relationship for men to be having today, even though your peer group doesn't have those conversations. Because that gentleman you just talked about that doesn't like the post nut conversation, I promise you, there might be an issue with pornography. There might be an issue with masturbation. There might be 10, 20 different reasons why he's probably one of those men that say all women look the same upside down. That's not necessarily manhood. That's just an opportunist who's complaining and blaming the other person for their inadequacies.
Okay.
So that's not him being he's avoiding talking truthful and vulnerable.
Well, if you hear him speak about it, he's like, "Yo, I got this over," and I fuck with him heavy, So
Invite him on the show.
I don't think, I don't know.
That'd be a great conversation for you to watch.
It would be, but I think he's gonna fucking pop a cork and shit because he's. I mean, but I feel like also too he'll speak on the level where knowing someone's like title or whatever, he's a unique motherfucker. Like,
I get them all the time. I'm not trying to make him wrong.
I'm
I'm
not
just trying
saying
to
that. I'm not saying that you're
No,
trying to
I'm
make it
saying
wrong.
he'll get it. He'll get that I'm not trying to make him wrong, but maybe open his eyes to something that's different. Unless he wants to be right, then allow him to
But then
just vent.
also too, I don't feel like too many people are open or are cool with having this type of conversation. Some
Fair enough.
people are just like, no, I got to figure it out or whatever. Like, my sister's baby father, right? I want him to come on here and speak to us. Like, I want, whatever. But again, like you had mentioned, I cannot, I can't force someone to get help if they don't want to get it to begin with. If they don't make the initiative action, then I could tell you like, yo, look, there's a water fountain there, but I'm not gonna tell you how much water or whatever you should
I
drink,
agree.
etc. Blah blah.
I agree.
I'm just telling you, like, yo, if you're thirsty, we can provide you some water. Would you like to? Would you want help with that? No. All right, cool. So, bet.
So he's not in
And
agreement of the word
I
help.
don't. And now now it's getting to a relationship where like he'll call me up and be like, yo, what's up? I want to talk, blah blah blah. Which I have no problem with. But there's also like I'm telling him too, like, yeah, there's certain shit that I don't have an answer for. So I would like someone with actual experience on this shit to speak to you on it. But
Cool.
that's not a fucking thing. That's not
Because try not to use the word help and watch him respond to you different.
Okay, I will do that.
And you can just be like, you don't want support. You want to play victim, so go away.
I mean, I've been pretty like direct with him on certain shit,
Good shit.
which I feel like you need to be. You need to keep motherfuckers like letting them know what's up. Of course they had a relationship. Him and my sister have a different relationship, but that ain't rocking with me, nigga. Like I'm gonna tell you straight up how I feel, and of course I'm not gonna do it in a belittling way or make you feel like you fucked up. But I'm also gonna give you a disclaimer and let you know, like, yo, this is my point of view. whatever. I don't mean, you know, it's not coming off in a sense where like I'm trying to but this is just how I feel about it, and I'm gonna tell you how I feel about it, and let's have a discussion about it after.
I remember one time I was impressed with a client of mine. We were doing a group, and there was one female in the group. She was from someplace, not America, not New York, not America, but she was glowing. For some reason, she just had an energy about her. So my boy was just like, "Yo, you look like stunning today. Like you're glowing." She's like, "Yeah, I just had sex." But it was so normal for them that I was like, and in that moment, I was like, "Ooh." But it was only because she had the maturity to say something so adult. The way he heard it was adult. They both acknowledged that that was the reason why she was glowing. But I was blown away at the maturity, and it taught me a lot at that moment. I was like, wow, that's how adults talk. That's fascinating. I don't think I would have had the maturity.
I fucking love shit like that when I'm able to have a conversation with you and you being open and telling me certain things that you might find that other people might look and be like, oh, that's weird, and what the fuck's going on there? Like with my homegirl, right? I don't want to say whatever, but you know, from the other country,
Yeah.
very much enjoy the fact that I'm completely open with her. She's open with me about her shit and everything, right? Of course, we're not in a relationship, but we have adult conversations, and I'm not here to judge her or be like, yo, you being whatever, or she's not here to judge me and da 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 da. And we can have these conversations and be cool about it and not fucking be like, oh shit, or fucking get this whole weird backlash or whatever you want to call it, like, or this funky, weird feeling after.
Childish shit. Yeah.
Yeah, where, you know, everything's just like, you said poop, ah, you said dookie, or some stupid shit like that.
Good shit. What else with the week? How many times you went to the gym?
Every day. Well, not every day,
Every
but
day.
the days that I was supposed to go.
Which is?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which I'm actually gonna get ready in a bit so I can take my big ass to the gym.
And
Because
have you met anybody?
Huh?
Have you met anybody?
What do you mean?
Social aspect. Going to the gym. Is it still social?
No, the people don't really talk at the gym. Well, unless
You said
you
they
know,
did when you went late. You were surprised everybody was nice.
to that, like them, I
Oh,
guess because they, you know, they've been seeing each other's faces and shit for a while. I only talk to like the people in the front, and one of the dudes that he goes there, he works there, but he tends to work out at nighttime, and I'll see him sometimes. I'm like, yo, what up, guy? You know, but that's about it.
and do you ever met anybody to talk to? How about what was the other thing? You went to the gym. There was another thing you was doing.
I got a new nightlight. Hey, so now I'm going to
Where?
read my books up
That
here.
black thing?
Yeah,
Oh, how's the reading?
it's good.
I didn't get the book. You didn't send it to me electronically. You said you had an electric version of that book you were reading?
Oh, I said I could make you a copy of that shit.
I thought you had it. I wouldn't expected you to
No,
read, go through each one.
no. I said I could make you a copy of that shit.
I could try to look for it.
The
Cool.
what is
So,
it? The hacking, the human, the hacking of human engineering.
cool. So, what time is it? It is about to be 8 o'clock, sir. I have a call to make at 8 o'clock. We good for today?
I guess so. Yeah.
So the next one is when? Saturday, Sunday?
Dickhead. All right. Cool.
What?
I'm an asshole. We should have.
What?
I forgot to mention to do this thing. Okay. Um. Okay. Boom. Sorry guys. I forgot to mention. Please, we opened up our emails. So can you please? All right. Look, we opened up our emails so that you can send us an email letting us know of if you have any things, any questions or concerns that you might have. Please understand that these will be anonymous. Your name is not going to be put on there. So feel comfortable to write to us. I will be leaving the details in the caption. I should have mentioned that earlier, but I'm going to put it in the beginning. And you're probably watching this beginning because I went and I edited it wrong or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, please write to us because then eventually we want to open up a hotline and then we want to pick this up. Yeah, but yeah.
Also, like and subscribe.
Yeah, like, subscribe, tell a friend. Hopefully you're watching this. Very new video content and shit. So yeah.
So I'm gonna send you that right now. Does that work for you? For the site.
We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about that. I'll call you in a minute.
All right, peace.
All right, later, man. Welcome to the group. Goodbye. Later. Peace.